All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our State Advisory Council meeting. I'm Barbara Boone, and I direct the Statewide Family Engagement Center, and I'm here with our team, Tom Capretta, Dr. Meredith Wellman, Kristen Meek-Hennon is here, as well as Heather Bachman. Who else is here from OSU today? I'm going to open up my screen a little bigger so I can see. Oh, looks like we have Dr. Brett Zaromsky is here with us today, and we have some tech support from Greg Nagy. You'll see OSU tech support next to his name, so if you have an issue with technology, Patrick Cunningham is here with us. Patrick is a doctoral student here at OSU, and he's going to be presenting to us about some great has been doing with our team that we're really excited to share with you today. Anyone else that I'm missing from my team, please just say the word. It's hard to see everyone on the screen here today. All right. Well, welcome. We're really glad that you are here. And let's get started with our meeting. We always want to make sure that we can see names. That really helps us and helps us with our sort of roll call. So please, if you haven't over your name in the participants list, or if you have if you hover over the right corner of your picture on the screen, your video image, you'll see 3 little dots. You can select that and select rename. And if you put your name, that's great. And then you could also add who you're here. So I'm here as a school representative, an organizational representative, or as a family representative. All right, here's our agenda for today. We've got a lot of folks who are going to be sharing today, and you in particular. So we'd like to start with talking with you about how you have guided our work this year. Just to review that, I think it's really nice sometimes to look back and recognize and celebrate and acknowledge the ways that people contribute, and we want to do that today with you and the ways that you've been contributing to our work. We also want you to give us some guidance for the future. So we're going to be spending some time really listening to you today. We have quite a bit of our meeting time today dedicated to that. We're going to hear from Patrick Cunningham about the middle school years to careers resources that we have been developing, what we've been learning about that. We would love for you to be able to take those and use those in your work, or share those with others that you know, and we're excited to be sharing about those with you today. We're going to give you a year in review. You're our State Advisory Council, so we are going to share with you about some of the results, kind of a look at this year, and we tried to make that interesting and not just a bunch of numbers, but some interesting points for you to see there. We also are, we can't believe that we've gotten here. You know, when we all sat down and started this journey together, we made a plan and we said, you know, our family members, we really want our family members to serve 2 years. That would be a huge gift to us, and them volunteering and dedicating that time to this council. And then we said, boy, if you could stay 3, that would be above and beyond our expectations. And we're at the 3rd year for some of our family our representatives. And it's time for us to welcome new families on board and to continue in this process that we promised to do. And so we're going to recognize some of our family members who are going to be moving off of our council. And then we have a call to action for you. And of course, we always want your feedback, and we'll adjourn. So I just want to start here with how you have shaped our work this year. Several of you were speakers for our summit. We were proud to have a panel of parent leaders speak at our summit to really showcase to those hundreds of people who were in attendance and the many people who are watching the videos later that families are leaders in education. We need families as leaders. We need family input and family leadership. And it was exciting to have many of you speak there. You created family-to-family videos with us, and I want to acknowledge that those are powerful. And let me just share this one little short story with you, and that the research center called the Crane Center here at Ohio State has a pretty high-profile symposium on early childhood, and they focused on family engagement this year. And they brought in some pretty high-level researchers from the field, people from all over the country tuned in. And the leader of that, Dr. Laura Justice, when she asked us to sort of present at the end of that conference, she said, would you show one of those family videos? So I want you to know that people who are doing very deep and broad and intensive research are also value the stories, the data, that is a personal story. And so we shared pearls, all of those folks, and for many people, that was a high point for them of that day. So please know that the Family video series is a really an important thing for us. Experts, you are experts for us, and you shared your expertise and your resources with us. You shared information with your communities, with schools, your organizations, and we depend on that, and we thank you for doing that as well. You also participated in trainings, not just the professional development and training that we do during these meetings, but many of you attended the summit and you enroll in other professional development that we provide. And we're glad that you do that. We'd love to see that you are building your capacity in that way. And you also connected, you helped to connect our center with more agencies, more communities, more state organizations. Because of you, we have a phenomenal network across this state, and we thank you for that. And you also provide us with valuable feedback on the development of resources and policy. And that is important. In fact, just this week, we've been attending a 3-day summit and gathering at the U.S. Department of Education. And this is at the high note, the sort of the most senior person from the U.S. Department of Education who attended the conference. This was his biggest point. How are we listening to and responsive to families? And so and other stakeholders as well. So I want to share with you that is important work that you do with us. I also want to share with you just a little bit. We did an end of the year survey with you, our evaluator conducted that survey, and she shared the results with us. And I'd like to share that data with you. So we asked about impact, and here's what we're learning. We know that about 100% of you, that's not just an about, I suppose, that's everyone, reported that these council meetings help you learn about high quality family engagement strategies, and the statewide Family Engagement Center goals in our activities. And we are so glad that we have been successful in that, and we really appreciate your feedback as well. We heard that 97% of you, not everyone, and boy, we sure like to see everyone. So we see this as a motivator. Let's get 100%. But 97% of you reported that you shared your ideas with us for improving family, school, and community partnerships here in Ohio. And we are glad that you are experiencing that, because that is definitely our intent. And that is certainly a focus of today, as I mentioned before. And also, 89% of you reported that you provided input to help our center develop resources and tools for families, and you reported that you using council resources and information to support your schools, districts, and community. So we are helpful grateful that we are helpful to you in the sense that we are creating useful tools for you. So appreciate that feedback that you shared on that survey and the time that you took to do it. So I want to share with you some of the highest rated items on that survey that the feedback from you. And so the highest rated items that you said is that you would encourage other people to participate in this council. And that to us is a very high standard, and it's probably one of the things we look at the closest to say, because if you recommend it to somebody else, it means that it has been a meaningful and hopefully enjoyable experience for you to be a part of our council. And we hope that you will act on this, because our advisory council application for family representatives is out now. We are seeking applicants, and we hope that you will share that application with a couple of folks that you know that would enjoy this experience, would like to be providing some state leadership in Ohio around family and community engagement, and that they would be would enjoy working with us and use the resources that we provide as well. So we hope that you will share that application with those folks that you would recommend this to. But also that you plan to continue supporting the council activities after you're no longer even a council member. That was one of the highest rate of items. And that to us knows that we have tapped into that you are a part of folks that were committed to family and community engagement in education and that support for our kids in Ohio well before you joined our council and will be afterwards as well. And that we are glad that we have been a part of that journey along the way. We also had some lowest ratings. So, we're rolling up our sleeves to work on some of these things. So I work or consult with council members outside of scheduled meetings. Now, we know you're busy. And so part of this may be, I get enough contact during those meetings. I'm good. We do hope, though, that this is a time where you're networking and that you're finding resources, you're meeting people that that you want to see outside of, that you want to connect with outside of these meetings. And so that's something we will continue to work at. And also, we know you need time to do that. We know it's really hard to do when you're not here at OSU meeting with one another and getting to have lunch together. So, but we will continue to try to give you experiences where you get to connect with each other. And then finally, one of our lower rated items from your feedback was your that you don't get to actively participate when you attend council meetings. And so I hope you'll see today that we are going to try to do that better in our meeting today and give you that opportunity. We've set aside quite a bit of time for us to really listen and learn from you and give you time to actively participate. So thank you for that feedback. We appreciate that. And is there anything, just from my team, is there anything in the chat that I've missed? Because feel free to interrupt me. All right. And so I want to make sure, I said it before, but I want to say it again, that our application is open now. And as you know, we want to have family representatives, a part of this council that represent Ohio, look like Ohio, that are from all the parts of Ohio, that have children in all different grade levels, who have different experiences, whether their child is receiving gifted services or intensive intervention services, or if their child is just whatever your experience is, we want to have those various experiences and those perspectives brought here to this council to help inform the work that we do. And so we cast a broad net. We would love for this application to be heard by people who would be interested all around Ohio. And we hope that you will do that with us. All right. So I'm going to hand things over now to Tom Capretta from our team. Tom?
Thank you. So good to see you all this morning. I am Tom Capretta, and one of my responsibilities here is working with the Ohio Department of Education on projects that advance high-quality education policy and practice across Ohio. You've probably seen me up here with some of our colleagues from the Department of Education to talk about some of those things. And one thing I wanted to do today is you all have contributed some feedback to 3 specific projects that I just want to take a moment to follow up on, so you all know kind of where your contributions are and how they've supported the work that we are doing. So first thing I'd love to talk about today is something that you guys gave some feedback on the last time we were together, Ohio's Model District Family Engagement Policy. So hopefully you remember giving some feedback on that. We got a lot of great feedback, and that's rolling along. So you had that opportunity in those small groups last time to look over the policy, give some feedback before it's adopted. Since then, we've worked to code all of that feedback into themes. And so those themes then we will use to inform the next draft of the policy. Currently, we're not in a kind of a writing phase right now. We're collecting some more feedback from another stakeholder group of ours, the Family Engagement Leaders of Ohio, that some of you might be familiar with. And those are, we'll talk a little bit more about them later, but there's some district leaders from throughout the state who will be giving their feedback on that as well. After that, it'll go through the same process it went through with your feedback. We will do break it down into themes, and then we'll do kind of a rewrite of the policy that you saw to incorporate some of the things we heard from you all, and we'll bring that back to you so that you can see it when we bring it to the Board of Education for approval. So really appreciate everyone's feedback on that and for participating in that last time, and we can't wait to show it with you, or to show it to you, excuse me. Next, Family Award System, Family Engagement Award System. You all gave some feedback on that a while ago, and what's happened is kind of the same exact process. We take all the feedback, we break it down into similar ideas, we compare those ideas kind of to the ideas that we had starting out and kind of what the research says was already out there, and look for places where your ideas kind of either agree with ours or what we've been reading, and then sometimes where your ideas differ and how we might be able to fit some of those ideas into our thinking. So right now we're really getting the ball rolling with that, and we're in a very similar process where we're kind of just comparing the ideas that you all had with our ideas and seeing how to kind of put those together. And we look forwards to bringing this back to you for more feedback probably in a future meeting here. So appreciate your work on that as well. Last, but certainly not least, I think that most people here are probably familiar with the Ohio Department of Education's Whole Child Framework. They've talked about it a little bit. Our center has contributed to the development of that framework kind of from the beginning, really, and even worked on some implementation teams to address questions about how it could be adopted in school districts or leveraged. So we worked so hard on that framework with your support that we actually got family engagement, if you look at the model, in 2 places in the model when you look at the picture. So right now what we are doing is developing a toolkit for our website that takes each area of the framework and provides resources that can support educators as they weave family engagement throughout all of their planning, no matter what part of that framework they're looking at leveraging, whether it's social emotional learning or things like school safety, that they're thinking about ways to involve families in the decision-making process, to communicate clearly with families about what's going on, and just really make sure that family engagement is a part of all of the planning going on through this framework. So we hope to have that up and running here soon. We're actually going to be getting some feedback from one of our stakeholder groups next week on some of that work, and when we get it packaged nicely to be on the web, we look forward to sharing it with you all for your thoughts. So just wanted to take a minute here to give an update on where some of these great projects are that you've contributed to, and if you have any questions about any of this, feel free to throw them in the chat and I can answer those for you. So thank you.
Well, we do have a minute or two if there's any questions for Tom.
Sure.
Or about any of about the policy, about the award system, or about the framework. Or anything else you want to throw at Tom this morning. There's always a little bit of a delay with chat. So we pause for a moment here and also know that throughout today's meeting, please use the chat, or if you want to use the hand raising feature, whatever you want to use, any of the things that are available to you here today to send a question or along the way. No need to wait for a certain time during the meeting. All right. You can always private chat one of us too. If you have a question specific for one of us, you can use the chat feature to just pull out one person and send them a message as well. All right, I'm not seeing anything in the chat. And it's time for us to move to our next thing where we really want to give you some time to respond in a different way. I don't think we've used this before in our meetings, I think. So, Tom, I think you're going to take us into this one.
We're going to be jumping to a fun and interactive brainstorming activity to help us get ready and thinking about next year in this work together. So we're going to be using something called Mentimeter. And so to access this, there's two options. The easiest option is if you have your phone, you can take a picture of the screen to get that QR code. I know if you got an iPhone, you can just click it. I think if you have a Galaxy, you might have to use the QR code scanner in your menu, but that's the easiest way. It'll take you right there on your phone. If that is not suitable for you, you can see in the chat here, Meredith dropped that link. You just go straight to the link and put in that code. And once you're there, we'll be getting started answering some of these questions.
Okay. So we're starting to see some of the answers coming up on the screen here. Can you all see the question on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. So future meetings, what topics would you like to learn more about? One person unsure right now, that's totally fine. It's early in the morning, you can think a bit more about it, and if you think of something later, you can always send an email to our team. Another person would like practical strategies I can do in my community to encourage parent involvement in education. Are there ways families can support research by the center? It's a great question. Mental health help, not for only child, but for the family as a whole. I think that's a huge issue and ask we're hearing this year. We're certainly feeling that as well. Getting school administrators to support family engagement. Thank you for that. School support and family engagement, absolutely. Is there a way to have a symposium that school admins can get logged into? Yes, we actually have a few of those, and I believe we're going to talk about them today. And then maybe you can share them with your school administrators. Supports for students and families with different special needs, like ADHD, speech or language sensory issues. Connecting family to community resources. Would like to learn more about how to get parents engaged in the education process, for example, with the Parent Mentor Program. Thank you. Continued best practices on family engagement activities. Focusing on families that are approaching a transition age. Those come along at several times, and so we hear you on that as something that's very important. Thank you for your feedback so far. Let me just give a couple more minutes. I think we have more people than 13, so I just want to give some more time for people to respond. Help with teacher and parent communication strategies. Yeah, this is a big one. And just how to communicate with each other and listen and be heard by the school to share your ideas and feedback. I think that's really important. Child rights for the IEP process, understanding the law. Yes, I believe that's very important. Thank you all for your responses. Really appreciate everybody participating in this. If you missed the QR code and you'd still like to participate, another really fast way is to go to menti.com, and then it'll just ask you on the screen for a code, and the code is 5842-8391. And you can just keep this open on your phone because we'll be using this a few times today. I think that Kristen's putting that link in the chat and also the code. Support specific to engaging grandparents, parenting grandkids, and student learning. Yes, that's so important. There's so many families in Ohio in which grandparents are taking a caregiving role, and it's just, different engaging with schools now than it was in the past. Okay, I want to take us to our next question. At future meetings, what organizations or services would you like to hear more about? And this should be on the same website, same code, and now that I've changed my screen, you probably have a new question popping up on your smartphone. Mental health, absolutely. Linking to community organizations. Some really great work going on in Ohio right now around mental health for students and families. So we definitely hear that as a priority. The dad-led programs in schools. Ohio Kan, K-A-N. Mental health, how to take care of yourself first. Different ODE offices and services. Yes, our Ohio Department of Education is a rich resource in Ohio, and so learning more about them I think would be great. Youth development organizations. And as Kristen said in chat, we are going to be using these to plan future council meetings, so we really appreciate all of your ideas. This also might be organizations or services that you know about that you think others on the council might like to know about. Are there national family support services? That's a great question. Would love to hear from current classroom teachers. What do you need and what would help you with family engagement? Great idea. We know this has also been a taxing year for teachers and other education professionals, and so hearing from them is valuable. Claire, I don't know Ohio Kan, so I'm certainly going to look into that after this meeting. Thank you for, I don't know if you were the person that suggested it on the screen, but I'm definitely going to look into that. Resources.
Henley, this is Anita. I'm sorry. I was going to say it's Ohio. I put that in there. It's Ohio Kinship and Adoption Network.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm going to be doing some Googling today and find out more about that, especially to hear two great people suggesting it. Definitely need to learn more. Resources within Ohio that will help families with special education process. Absolutely, that's so important. Financial literacy for the upper grades. I think that's going to be something that is more and more a part of education. AFT and NEC initiatives related to family engagement. Thank you. Career planning and early education. Exactly, it looks a lot different and for thinking about future careers when you're talking to elementary school students, but it's an exciting time and can really get kids excited about education and about what they're learning in school. Just about 30 more seconds to get in your ideas if you can think of anything else. Again, this could be an organization that you know about that you feel like the rest of our council would really benefit from learning about, or services as well. Okay, I'm going to move it to our next question. Oh, we have one more answer that popped in. Or two more. Career tech paths to jobs during and after high school, lining up real jobs and training. Thank you very much. School involvement in special therapy services, speech, physical, emotional, occupational. Thank you. Okay, our final question. At future meetings, what speakers would you like to hear from? What speakers would you like to hear from? This could be someone inspirational that you think the rest of us would benefit from hearing from. Maybe this is somebody you've already heard present through an OSU event, either our council or a different event that you would like to hear from again. Karen Mapp. Oh my, me too. I agree, Meredith. A lot of these responses I think are really exciting. Thank you, Claire. What other speakers would you like to hear from? Dorothy Calloway of NAMI. Thank you. I bet Kristen is busily writing these things down. Karen Mapp, ditto. OSU Extension would be a valuable resource to have speak, particularly about youth development and financial literacy programs. Thank you. The new ODE superintendent. And just to say, even if you are not able to think of somebody right now, we won't close voting on this. So you should be able to re-access this later if you'd like to add in an answer. More votes for OSU Extension. Michelle Brooks. Yes, she's wonderful. Jonathan Martinez on supported decision making. So we are going to be using Mentimeter later on. So if you just want to keep it out on your phone, it'll stay on this question until things get passed back over to me. If you do happen to close it on your phone, we'll have a QR code for you again later. And I think I can turn things back over if someone wants to take back over sharing. Thank you very much for all your ideas, everyone.
Yes, thank you. Barb, if you want to go ahead and
I sure will.
Go to our next slide, and I'll take over here quickly. Are your brains exhausted for giving us ideas? Well, I'm sorry, bad news. We've got more brainstorming to be done here today. We're putting you guys to work today. Your last meeting of the year. You thought you could slide by. All right. So just because we're not in person, we can definitely still get together in virtual rooms and work on things. So we continually need your help to guide our work. So maybe not necessarily for something that we might discuss in a future SAC meeting, but maybe guiding some future research or things, tools or resources that we need to do. So we came up with 5 different conversation ideas, and we're going to break out in rooms. So what's going to happen here is we're going to have a total of 45 minutes to work on this, and we're going to have 15 minutes. We're going to break down into 15 minutes 3 times. So you're going to be able to choose one of these 5 discussion groups. So the first one would be family to family series. In that room, everybody's going to have one of our staff members to take notes. And we're just going to basically discuss the family to family series. How can we make it better? How can we recruit more people to contribute their stories, et cetera, et cetera. The second one you can choose is a podcast for families. We want to create a podcast for families this year, and we really need your ideas. So in that room, you can talk about different topics, maybe similar items that you spoke today on the Mentimeter. The third one are tools. I know we've talked about this in the past, but what can we provide to help you be more equipped to talk to other families and schools and communities about family engagement? So that is a room for that. The fourth room will be school practices. Now that you guys know more about family engagement, what would be some recommendations for improving one school practice? And I know everybody has had experience in maybe a parent-teacher conference. How can that look different? How do you think that could be improved? Or communications between home and school. So you can brainstorm some ideas there. And then the last one is partnership opportunities. Are there any opportunities for our center to partner with your community or organization? We would love to hear your ideas. So like I said, I'm going to open up the rooms and they're all going to be titled with these names. And you get to choose for the first 15 minutes which room you would like to go in. I will send a note into your rooms when there's about a minute up. You all can then come back to the main room and choose a second one. And then you'll do it again for 15 minutes. And I'll let you know a minute up. And then you can come back and choose your third one. So any questions? And if anybody has any problem getting into a room that you would like, we can place you there. Any questions? No? All right, I'm going to open up the rooms. Here we go.
Welcome back, everyone. It's nice to see you all here. I'm enjoying seeing some friendly faces out there. And I think Kristen's going to get us just started. And then I will be telling you about what you see on the screen.
Actually, I think you're up, Hadley.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you sent me a message saying you had something you wanted to say. Yes, I am up.
Yep.
Okay, so I wanted to talk briefly about Foundations of Family Engagement. This is a course that we offer at our center, and we are excited to tell you about it today. We offered it over the summer, and it is a course for early career teachers, counselors, and other school-based staff to build their knowledge and skills for effective family engagement. So over the summer, we offered this course, and 34 participants completed the entire course. You can see a quote there on the screen from a teacher who participated. And I just wanted to share about it because we are going to be offering 3 different online courses outside of the other training that we do. And this year, through all of our trainings, we provided professional learning to over 5,000 people. So we would love to just continue to expand that reach. We're going to be opening registration for our Foundations of Family Engagement course, which will be offered in January and February of the next in 2022. And then also a course entitled Partnering with Families to Support Early Literacy. So those 2 courses are going to be opening registration in December. And Barbara, if you can switch to the next slide, I will let them know how they can hear more about that. So those are going to be announced through our news and guidance list. So if someone could put in chat the link to subscribe, we would love if you would subscribe. And then as you get this information for courses, it may not be exactly what you need in your role. As a parent representative, you might not need to register for one of these courses in family engagement, but I know that you have the ear of the principals and teachers at your child's school. And so if you would be willing to forward it on, we would really appreciate that. Just to talk briefly about our news and guidance, this was a recent issue on how to engage families in middle school career exploration. And the map that's shown on the screen shows where our news and guidance is read. So it's read really like across the United States, and also a few readers in Canada and Australia. We have close to 1,500 subscribers. Christy, yes, these 2 courses offer continuing education credits for teachers, yes. And there's a process for doing that. We assign contact hours, and those can be translated to CEUs for teachers for their licenses. So we've had 25 issues so far of the news and guidance. And as I said, 550 regular readers. And so I'm going to post it looks like nobody else has yet. So I'm going to post the link to subscribe in chat. And if you are not already subscribed, we would love if you would subscribe to our news and guidance. We appreciate having a wide range of readers. And then as you see things that are relevant to your school, if you want to forward that on to people in your school, we would appreciate that as well. And then I hope that you notice in the next few months, I'm really planning on using some of the ideas I heard today in at least my breakout room and probably others as well to inform future news and guidance issues. So thank you very much. That's all from me, I believe.
Thanks, Hadley, for that. And I'm so excited. I mean, I think just to point out, Hadley has sort of taken the helm and is really leading our professional development offerings from our center. And it's exciting that that I hope you heard that number. Over 5,000 people were trained last year by our center. So if nothing, we are a really hardworking group. So, but anyway, we're excited about these online offerings that have Hadley has worked hard to develop and are really very high quality. So we're excited about being able to offer this. So, all right, well, let me keep moving. So what I'd like to share with you is just a little bit of an update. We're going to give you just some information about what's been going on with us. And so we want you to know that one of the ways that we are providing training is in an evidence-based model. So that means this is a model or an approach to family engagement in a school system that has quite a bit of research around it. We've been partnering with Johns Hopkins University and Dr. Joyce Epstein there and her team to provide this evidence-based approach. It's called the partnership approach, or in the National Network of Partnership Schools. And we've shared with about this with all of you. But we want you to know that we're doing that in a very sort of organized way because we're studying it. Our evaluator is working with us to sort of compare schools. And at the national level, they're looking at the schools that are implementing this and looking at them compared to other schools in the country. So there's a lot of folks sort of looking at, and we're actually sort of not just doing training, but in this particular way, and we are sort of trying to contribute to what's really making a difference. And so in this approach to engaging with families, we are training regional coaches who are then, and we are training a leader in a district to lead family engagement and partnerships in their district, working with a leader in each school building who then has a team of family members and school personnel, teachers and school counselors, nurses, folks in the school working together on that team to have a plan for engaging families that aligns to their academic goals, the behavioral goals, their climate, their mental health supports. They develop a plan that fits their school and their families and their community, and they're implementing that plan. And so so we're actually surveying the families in those buildings and the teachers in those buildings and gathering great feedback from them. So I just want you to see, so we had our first cohort come on last fall. They were delayed because of COVID and issues around meeting up and all of those things. We all hit pause for a while. And then we had a second cohort come on in the spring, and we continue to meet virtually with these leaders in these schools to continue to provide them with training to continue to drive implementation of this model with fidelity, the way it's supposed to be implemented, not sort of picking and choosing, but really we don't want to not have a team that has parents on it, right? So we keep saying, let's keep working on building that team to have parents who represent the families in your communities, to develop a plan that is focused on making an impact for students so that we continue to provide training with these schools, and we will be bringing on a third cohort of districts. So we have 31 districts we're working with just in this one particular way of approach to family engagement. 66 schools. We're going to add 16 more districts and 32 more schools this spring. So, and what's exciting is that district leaders in these districts are continuing to train more leaders in their schools and more school teams. And our regional coaches are training more districts. And so we see what we call the ripple effect, where this model is being expanded around the state. So the PD on this slide, sorry for the acronym, is professional development training for systemic family engagement. That means not just one thing, like how to have a reading program with families, those are important, but how to plan and systemically, how to have a plan, have data that's driving that plan, have families at the table with school personnel guiding this plan. That's all part of like a system of family engagement for our schools. So we're very excited about this. All right, and Tom, why don't you share about our Family Engagement Leaders of Ohio?
Yeah, thanks, Barb. So Family Engagement Leaders of Ohio is something I started working on the day I got here, and it's a professional learning community that is really focused on providing a space for district-level family engagement staff to network, learn from each other, discuss problems of practice, and also learn from experts in areas that they've identified to improve their practice. So while it is a very defined purpose, we open it to people from outside Ohio. We open it to people who might not be in those district roles, but just make very clear that that is the focus. It's always going to be the focus and kind of where we're geared. But it's open to anyone who is interested in growing their knowledge, skills, and capacity to advance family, school, community partnerships in their schools and their community. Last year, the fellows identified that communication was a really huge thing that they wanted to work on, especially through the pandemic. So we had speakers come in and talk about how we talk about family engagement. What are better ways to express what we mean when we're saying that? We had a family panel that some people from our council actually sat on so that they could present kind of what families are looking for in terms of communication and collaboration with their schools. This year, we are just getting kicked off, and we're really going to focus on creating more of a shared kind of space for looking at some problems of practice that districts might be facing in really advancing their family engagement work. But this group has really expanded over the last couple of years. And right now we have representatives from at least half the counties in Ohio. So we are having people attend meetings, get our emails from half the counties in Ohio, which is great, really exciting. And we also have attendees from 14 states and Washington, D.C. across the country. So we're really trying to create this space that will help others live up to the standard of our mission for advancing family engagement and creating opportunities for all students and families. If you're in one of those roles or that sounds interesting to you, we dropped a link in there for you to follow and register. We also wanted to just take a moment to talk about our website. Our website continues to be one of our strongest tools to connect with others and share our work. I'm on it every day. Anytime someone emails me looking for something, I basically go Google it on our website or search for it on our website and pull it up. And that is because on the website, you will find 400 resources that have either been created or vetted by us for both families and educators. We're getting about 2,000 users per month, which is really exciting. That's kind of been going upwards since we kind of kicked this whole thing off. We have 52 free videos, and that was something that was expressed to us when we were starting this center, that people really wanted to be able to engage in multiple formats and really engage in multiple ways to learn. So we're excited to be having all those videos, including a lot of things from our summit, as well as our other professional development sessions that we've given. We also have 4 podcasts up there, again, trying to live up to that idea of having learning opportunities in kind of like every type of way that you might be able to engage with them. We've got a couple courses for core educators up there. You heard Hadley talk about the upcoming course for 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 teachers and school staff coming up here in early next year. So we're excited to have that again. This continues to kind of be where our work is showcased and really how we connect with a lot of people. So hopefully you're using that. Hopefully you're sharing that, because I know we are all the time. Another thing that you've heard us probably talk a lot about that we just wanted to follow up with now that we're almost 2 months behind us now is the Family Engagement Leadership Summit. So this actually grew out of the Fellows from a couple slides ago. Fellows is a virtual community, and we wanted to have one meeting where we all came together and met each other and built some of that camaraderie. Well, COVID happened, so we started planning a virtual meeting, and we said, hey, why would we stop at our Fellows if this is just going to be online? And wow, in 2020, we had over 900 registrants, which was a lot more than we thought. It was a little scary at the time, honestly. And we probably had around 300. We didn't have like our attendance keeping mechanism to the place that it is now. We think about 300 were there during the day, but 839 people have viewed videos from that summit so far to engage in that learning. Now, flash forward to this year, the summit you saw on the screen, the summit, hopefully some of you stopped by, we had over 1,000 registrants. We calculated that 520 attendees were there the day of, and so far already over 350 views on the videos in just a little bit over a month. So the summit is growing, it's getting bigger. We appreciate your guys' support and input on the summit, sharing things about the summit, and it's only going to continue to grow. So look forward to it next year, and we look forward to some of your thoughts and input that you might have. So with that, we have a lot going on these days, and we again thank you for those contributions to these projects that we are working on to improve outcomes and relationships for students and families with schools and the community. But to continue these efforts, my colleague Patrick here is about to share some information about another awesome project called Middle Years to Careers. So I'll turn over to Patrick when he is ready to kick it off.
Great. Thanks so much, Tom. I appreciate that. I just went into screen sharing mode, so if someone could confirm that you can see my screen now. Yep. Thank you, Meredith. And then if I advance my slide, how are we doing? Can you see that?
We're good.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I love when that works out. All right, so hi everyone. My name is Patrick Cunningham, and I am a graduate research assistant with the Ohio Statewide Family Engagement Center. I'm also a doctoral student. I'm a PhD student in the counselor education program. And I have a background in school counseling, so that's kind of where my heart and my experience lie. And I'm part of a team currently within SEAT and the Ohio Statewide Family Engagement Center who came together to do some research on family engagement and middle school career exploration. So it feels maybe like a little bit of a really specific area, but we wanted to dive into this area and see what the research said, and then also what we could do to help translate that research and get the research into the hands of families and schools and students. So we dug into the research, summarized our findings, and we've been developing a number of resources with the goal of increasing partnerships in this area. And I'm going to take a few minutes right now just to walk you through some of what we've learned, discuss why it's important, and then share some of the tools that we've been developing to benefit middle schoolers. So we'll start off right away with two of our biggest findings after going through the research. So first, we learned that overall, there's kind of a lack of emphasis on career exploration in middle school. And that both comes from the research side and also from practice within schools. So we gained this perspective that that there's this lack of focus going on in this area, but also at the same time that middle school is really an ideal time to begin the career exploration process. So I'll speak more about that and why it's important in just a minute. We also learned that there's a need for partnerships between schools, families, middle schoolers, and community partners in this area. As a family engagement center, it's probably not surprising to hear that we believe that partnerships are important. But we think that these partnerships can really help to resolve some role confusion that might exist, and also really help to maximize student success and student outcomes. So I'm going to take just a very brief minute to provide a very high-level overview of the career exploration process. So this graph represents students' overall career exploration process from beginning to end. In middle school, in elementary school, kids are exposed to the world of work. So that's kind of the first circle. They're learning about what work is and maybe what some different careers might look like. It's at a very high level. Then by middle school, they're starting to learn, and they're kind of at this prime age in life to learn about themselves, to learn about their strengths and talents, and then they can start applying that to what they've learned about these careers. Then, as they move on, they'll begin to explore careers and develop career plans so that when they're ready to leave high school, they can take that next step toward a career. And career exploration in middle school is really important because if students are waiting kind of too long toward the end, there's just not enough time, as like a junior or senior in high school to really start making plans, like in terms of course planning and these sorts of things that might have an impact on ability to pursue a specific major in college or go to, a specific career and technical path. They might run out of time. So the more that we are able to help our students to explore different careers, but also to explore their interests, I think that's really important. If they can be doing that in middle school, then they'll develop those necessary skills so that by the time that they're in high school and beyond, they can really start to develop some plans. We recognize those plans are fluid, they change. I changed my college major twice, so we're not trying to make anyone decide anything right now. It's really this exploration process that's important. So research has demonstrated that this relationship specifically, so that an increased understanding of self and careers leads to an increased ability to make informed decisions about academic planning. So, and this in turn can lead to things like higher graduation rates and also kind of just like success overall after high school. So the relationship's really important. So that's why we think, again, middle school is a really important time for this, and that's why we kind of channeled all of our energy toward this middle school time period. Now, let's dive a little bit more into what we've learned about family engagement in this area. So one major finding in the research is that family engagement and career exploration, just overall, families are the primary career influence for their children. And so one thing that's I think is kind of interesting about this is that might mean that all of these stereotypes that we have about middle schoolers never wanting to hear from their parents, kind of always want to do the opposite of what their parents are saying, that's actually not necessarily true specifically for this one area, at least. Kids really do, they internalize what's coming from their parents. They want to hear what their parents think about career options. They are looking to their parents as models in this area. So it means that families play a huge role in supporting their children through this process as well. They have expectations. Their expectations and beliefs about careers shape their child's development in this area. And that's because career expectations and beliefs, they shape conversations that are had around a dinner table, or subtle behaviors that might convey a message either directly or indirectly about careers. And all of this together contributes to how students or children develop their beliefs about who they are, what they're capable of, and their interests. So it's all really tied together quite tightly. And with that said, family engagement and career development at home and in school is certainly not uniform across all families. the ways that families choose to engage with their children around this topic are influenced by a lot of different factors. So some of the factors are their motivational beliefs, or their beliefs about what they can or should, whether or not they can or should have a role in this process or the specific area of their child's life. It's also shaped by perceptions that they have about invitations from others. So whether or not they feel invited into career conversations by the school or by their children. Also their life context. So the various factors in their life, including time, resources, stressors, all of these things impact the degree to which a family member might engage in these conversations with their child. So it's by understanding all these factors together that we can better partner, that we can increase partnerships between families and schools and students and children, so that everyone's coming together and working together more carefully. And overall, kind of one of the main points that I want to leave you with at this point is that, again, partnerships between schools, families, communities, specifically around career exploration, are undervalued and underemphasized, especially considering the important role that families play in this process. So we think that it would really help a lot if we are rethinking what family engagement means and what it looks like. And these are conversations that we've been having a lot in our center, and Hadley Bachman did a lot of really good work with the middle school team to look at what career exploration looks like in middle school. So we kind of took some of those ideas, we took ideas from other areas, and we developed a bunch of resources and tools to help facilitate these partnerships in this process a little bit more. So a lot of times we're kind of stuck in this old way of thinking about family engagement. On the school side, maybe they're primarily thinking about how to get more parents to come to school or to show up to events. But we know that effective family engagement is all about interactions that are happening at home between the caregiver and the child in support of learning, or in this case, in support of career exploration. So then the question becomes, how can schools partner with families to promote this form of effective family engagement around middle school career exploration? And so we developed, again, a few different tools for that. The first thing we developed was a research brief. We love our research briefs in the Ohio Statewide Family Engagement Centers. This is another example of that. This research brief specifically, we applied Joyce Epstein's framework for family engagement to the research on middle school career exploration. And we shared really specific ideas for ways that partnerships can be strengthened on the school side, especially. So what can schools be doing to increase these partnerships with families? And Dr. Epstein's framework for family engagement describes some of the various roles that parents and caregivers take on, helping them to expand, or helping everyone to expand their views of what family engagement looks like. So I'm not going to take a lot of time to go into that right now, but this resource is available on our website if you're looking for really specific strategies and ideas of ways to increase partnerships, especially from the school side, around career exploration in middle school. We also have been in the process of developing a lot of resources, some resources specifically for families, some resources specifically for students, and some resources specifically for schools to help, and they're all kind of complementary, and they're helping to really strengthen these partnerships and conversations that are happening in the home around careers with middle schoolers. So again, we also really wanted to make these resources as accessible as possible. So they don't require anyone to be an expert on careers, because we all bring our own expertise. We all are experts in our own ways on careers. We have our own stories. And so really the goal is to just focus everyone in helping students explore. And that's what these resources are all about, is making things easier. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to exit out of here. I'm going to reshare, and I'm going to show you some of what we've been building on the website. So let me switch gears here. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Can you all see now the website? Great. All right, so on our website, we've been, as I said before, we have a few different pages here. At the top, there's a section for schools, and under middle and high school, there's a section for middle years to careers projects. So you can go there if you're looking for some of these resources. Another place you can go is to the For Families page. Under middle school and high school, there's a career conversations. So that's either place will get you where you're trying to go, but I'm on the school page for right now. And here, it gives a little bit of an overview on what the Middle Years to Careers team is and what we've been doing, but also it'll take you to these career conversation starters for middle school families. So I'm going to walk you through that in a minute, but I also wanted to scroll down and show you that our research brief is here on the website as well, if you're looking to access that. And down here, we have our Twitter feed, and we've posted lots and lots of resources about all that we've been developing. So you can go here and look. We've got lots of kind of tweets and things summarized, so feel free to retweet things if you come across anything that's exciting. So going back up here, I wanted to take a little bit more time to specifically walk through these career conversation starters for middle school families. So this is something that we spent a lot of time developing and trying to figure out how we can try to make these conversations as accessible as possible. And it is broken down into 3 categories. So these are the 3 things that we think are most important for families to be talking with their kids about, their middle schoolers about. So 1 is exploring their own interests and strengths, the kids' interests and strengths. Number 2, exploring careers. And then number 3, getting connected with community resources. So those are the 3 main buckets for these conversations. So you can click on any one of them, and it'll give you some ideas on what these conversations could be. So here are a bunch of the conversation starters, some activities you can do as a family. And we also have, if you want this all in like a PDF format, if the online version doesn't work well for you, you can click on this link down here, and we have it in a PDF that you can print out and look at it in a different way. So as an example, I'll just take you through, I was actually talking with Kristen Meek-Hennon the other day. She has a middle schooler, and we were talking about career exploration, just kind of like on a personal side, and I was walking her through this interest profiler. So I want to take you through that very, very briefly. I don't want to spend too much time here, but I think this is just to show an example of what this can look like at home in a conversation between a parent or a caregiver and a child, a middle schooler. So if you click on this interest profiler, where it will take you is to this ONET. I don't know if any of you are familiar with ONET online, but it was made by the government, by the Department of Labor, and this is just one really small portion of their website. Their website is massive, and it just, there are over 90,000 careers on here that you can explore through. But this specific tool on their website is a free tool, and it gives you a chance to, your student or your child can go through here and take this brief inventory. It's 60 questions. I had filled it out a little bit earlier, but I guess it went away. But I'm going to click some random answers here on the survey, but it takes about 5 minutes to go through this survey. And once you go through it, what it's doing is asking you about all of their interests, things that they might find interesting, things they might not find interesting, and this might change over time. So this is an activity that can be done multiple times. So once you click through there, it'll start trying to formulate these different specific areas where you might be most interested. So for this child, as an example, their top score was in this realistic category, and then their conventional category, and then their investigative category. So it's going to narrow, based on that combination of areas of focus, it's going to narrow it down to specific career options that might be worth exploring. Another thing it's going to ask you too, if you keep going through these links, it'll ask about job experience, how much experience is required, or how much preparation is required, how much schooling is required. So if they are thinking maybe they want to go off to, get a bachelor's degree in something, you can click on this medium job preparation one. If they're not thinking, maybe they're going to go like associate's degree route, they can click on this one. So for now, I'm just going to click on the medium job preparation link. Oops. It's on the next one here. And then it's going to take, again, it's going to take together the interests and the job preparation, and it's going to spit out a bunch of different careers that they can explore. So there's a lot of careers here that are really good matches based on what we just put in there. And it also, if you look, it's in alphabetical order right now, but it also has this little sun icon means that it's a bright future career. So there's a lot of great, the job outlook in that career is really great. So for example, you know, just looking through this list, there are a lot of things that I don't know, like right now, as an adult, I don't know what they do. There's a lot of careers that I don't know anything about these. And that's great that you don't have to know anything about them. So like, for example, if you don't know what a coroner is, you can click on that link and it takes you to this page that has tons of information. There's videos about this career. There's statistics about, you know, how much education you need and the job outlook, average salary. There's so much valuable information on this website that you can use and you can click around. Again, that interest profile, that little assessment that I click through, that's not set in stone. Those things change over time. It's just a launching pad. And the whole goal here is to just start exposing your kid or a student to career options and to just get them thinking about what that could look like. And then, you know, going back to our page here, that's what this is all about. This page is all about exploring interests and careers. And then you can go back to the conversation starters and you can go look at the next one at exploring careers more specifically. You can look at exploring career resources, community resources more specifically. So it all kind of works together really, really nicely to try to, you know, just help build those conversations at home. So I'm going to head back now to the PowerPoint presentation. I'm just going to wrap up here. So on our website, again, lots of resources. One other thing that I didn't highlight on our website, but Hadley does a really great job every month or every other month coming up with our newsletter. And there was one newsletter specifically on career exploration in middle school and all the things that we found. So if you're looking for more information, you can look there at the archive newsletters. We're also developing more resources. There's going to be more resources posted very shortly on the website. And those resources are maybe more specifically for schools or more specifically for kids. Because we also believe that the kids themselves have an important part to play in this. This is not just the responsibility of the schools and the family members. This is also, the kids are middle schoolers now. They have ownership in this process, and we want to make sure they have ownership in this process. So we're developing resources for all entities and trying to help build the gap, bridge the gap, and make these conversations happening more frequently in the home. So I think that's pretty much all that I wanted to share at this time. Let me make sure there wasn't anything else. I'll post these once I stop sharing and I can access the chat again. I'll post these links in the chat here about Middle Years to Careers and our newsletter. But I think that's pretty much all that I have. So we're ready for the next presenter.
Were there any questions for Patrick as we segue here?
Kristen, I may be able to help in this area if Patrick is interested. I've got more than enough experience in this area, so you could set it up so we could exchange communications methods. That would be great.
That sounds great. I love that idea. So I'll be sure to get in touch.
Yeah, I put together this Cleveland Skills and Career Center many years ago. I'm not going to tell you how many years ago because you start laughing. But we pretty much use the same method, process, and what have you. I'll give you one quick example. A grandmother brought her young grandson in to see me one day, and we took him through the assessment, basically the same assessment you're talking about, but it was in the original form. And it came up saying that hull operator, Hull operator. And we're like, what the heck is a hull operator? So we looked it up, and it's working on the hull of a ship. Because he enjoyed working with his hands. That's what the R, when it highlights, when it's highest, it's someone that likes to work with their hands. And so we put him in contact with Great Lakes Shipping Company. And they took him through an internship, and then they hired him. So those are the kinds of things that happen that piques the interest of the child, confirms their interest, and the parent gets excited. In the school, we had another system in the schools that would reinforce it too. So yes, I would welcome the opportunity to chit chat and work with you on this. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Gregory. That was great. Thanks. Any other questions or things that to address right now?
Patrick, thank you for that. That work has just come such a long way from we had nothing. Just so much, and such a great presentation, and more to come. So thank you for that. And I've got our next slide up here. We're making a segue, and I'm going to pass it over to Tom.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Boone. I'm up here again. I'm up here a lot today, so it's good to see everybody again. But I want to take a moment to thank our Youth Advisory Council members who have contributed time, energy, knowledge, and experience to the team this year. I don't think any of them are in attendance with us, or they shouldn't be. But what I do want to do really quickly is, if you are a family member of one of these students that are going to come up here in just a second, I'd love you to turn your camera on and just give us a wave for sharing that experience with us. Uh-oh. Well,
Barb stopped sharing on you.
Well, I did. Sorry. I wanted to see their faces when you said you were going to turn their camera. I got all excited. I will start sharing my screen again. Sorry about that.
We'll pop back there. All good. But anyways, just so we thank you for, and if you could do one more click for us real quick, we thank all the students that will be coming up here. You know, every student up here came, attended some meetings, were able to provide such great feedback. We thank parents for supporting children in this endeavor and supporting their work as part of this council. I had so much fun and have been so inspired working with the young people, and I can't wait to see the great things that they do in their life. I already know that some who started with us back a while ago are already off in college and in the next part of their journey doing great things as leaders, as young leaders out in the world. So we look forward to all of these students in the next parts of their journey as well. If you can move to the next slide, I'll just remind you all what the student advisory group here actually did contribute to us. So they actually went out into their schools on multiple occasions and got feedback from students relating to some of the projects that we were discussing, and that often informed, especially through the pandemic, some things that we were thinking about. They also provided engaging insights on how families engage, like what are their parents looking for, how they communicate about communication, very meta type stuff going on here, with their families, with their schools. So they kind of updated us on what was working best, whether it's notes from the backpack or text home or bring messages home, in terms of getting kind of a triangle of communication between students, families, and students. They discussed a lot of the presentations. So we have people here like Dr. Zaromsky, who was with us, or Dr. Anderman, who was with us to give some presentations the last couple of meetings. And you just weren't talking about them. Some of our students were talking about what they thought about things like student motivation and the state of their well-being through things like the pandemic and stuff, and had pretty robust conversations about what they agreed with and what maybe didn't fit their experience that they were hearing from the research. So that was really fun. And the last thing, well, not really the last thing, but the last thing I'll share with you, I suppose, is they proposed projects to improve partnership between schools and families. I think our students really, I got a sense for our students really having strong sense for what they felt between their families and schools, and some of that tension and what felt good when it was going good, what felt bad when it was going good. So all of that was beautiful. Unfortunately, because of the way that our meetings have evolved through the pandemic, and the challenge of facilitating, students being in the same place as their families and kind of having to do separate breakouts on devices or devices next to each other, we kind of found that we weren't providing the same experience as we were for the students when we were meeting in person. And due to some of these challenges, we're going to actually drop and scale back our Student Advisory Council for the time being. We just think that there are other ways to engage their voice without taking them away from important things like going to school. And we want to make sure that they're engaged with their peers as much as possible and things like that. So we're really looking forward to engaging with students and young people in the future. We believe in student voice here wholeheartedly, but unfortunately, we will be discontinuing that branch of our advisory council for the time being. So thank you again to all the parents who supported these children to participate, and we look forward to making those connections in other ways. So thank you.
Well, I am clearly having difficulty advancing slides right now. So sorry about that. Thank you, Tom. And let me get back to Bruce. Oh, goodness gracious. There we go. Okay, it's break time. Kristen, how long do we have?
Let's just do about 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Let's do 11:25 return.
Thank you.
Okay, hopefully everybody's coming back from the break. We just have a little bit more time here left of our meeting this afternoon. And this time we wanted to take the opportunity because, as you know, there are some members that have fulfilled their duties on the State Advisory Council. They've either done 2 or 3 years. And sadly, I was kind of hoping that more of these individuals that will not be returning next year could have been here today. But I do believe I've seen at least 3 of them here. So we can at least give a special thank you to each of them and for the service that they have provided and the time that they have given. For the last 2 to 3 years, they have come to mostly every meeting and have made great contributions. So here are the list of individuals that Barb is pulling up here. And I believe Jamie Myers, Eaton, and Jen Myers, as well as Amy Parker are here. If you guys want to put on your camera so we can give you a little round of applause. And even though, yes, that's right. even though that this might be your last meeting physically in person with us, I do want you all to know that I don't think we have, don't tell anybody this, I don't think that we have any intention of changing our password for your website for the State Advisory Council. So that means you all will still be able to go on there and watch our recordings of our meetings as if you were there with us still. You'll be able to get all the content. You'll be able to stay up to date if there's any offerings. So please don't feel like that you are like you're disconnecting from us. You have our emails, you have our contact information. We want you to still be involved. So just because you might not be getting the meeting email, hey, there's a meeting going on next week, that doesn't mean that you have to stop being involved with us. Or if you have opportunities that we can collaborate with you, or if there's something that you need in the future from us, we are here for you still. So I just wanted to put that out there to you. So at this time, I had sent a message to a lot of these members to kind of think about if they would be willing to share their experience with us as a member of the council. And since we do not have a lot here, this is open to any of you, even our organization members. We would love to hear what this experience council, whether it's been a year or 2 or 3 years. I just want to kind of informally open this out. If you want to raise your hand or maybe even share something in the chat. Anybody can share something in the chat, but maybe there was one resource that really impacted your family that you have used since you found out about it, or something that you did in your community or shared something with a family that really made an impact just by simply being a member of this council and getting the knowledge that you have today. We would just love to take the next 10 to 15 minutes to hear from you. So anybody willing to share? Or like I said, you don't have to talk. You can just put it in the chat. So Jen Myers said that she appreciates the opportunity and she's really enjoyed being a part of this awesome group. Well, we have been so blessed to have you on our council, Jen. So thank you so much. Amy, it's been amazing. I'll definitely miss your fun and awesome personalities. I'm going to miss you, Amy. I miss seeing you in person. You always made me laugh. Anyone else want to share anything? Just feel free to turn on your mic.
I'll share. I just wanted to say thank you. And this is a meeting, a lot of the meetings that we have to go to or need to go to, we dread them and we complain or whatever. But this is always a meeting that I've enjoyed going to. I've been really sad that we haven't met in person because there was a lot of good connections made and a lot of good, I found a lot of resources to use for home and for the Parent Mentor Program. So I just want to say thank you. This is just always one that I've enjoyed. And when the time is up, I'm like, oh, we got to go. So I've just enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any of our organizational members share what this experience has been for you, or has it helped you in your work?
Kristen, I'm going to take a minute here and jump in since there's time, and just say, our gratitude is just huge to our family representatives. We're all here on the job. I'm a mom. We love to. We are all in this personally and professionally on our team. But we know that a lot of us are here in a professional capacity. But our family members have come alongside us and volunteered their time, taken this on because in a very personal way, you're invested not only, you're here for your own kids. I mean, I think we all sometimes come because of the experience we have as a caregiver to these kiddos. We're parenting these kids, and yet, but you come with a bigger vision, and that is for all of Ohio's kids. And I'm tearing up a little bit. Sorry. That's huge. Sorry. So, something that has given me great joy in these meetings is to see, especially when we're in person, but even on these screens, to see a full professor faculty member sitting alongside one of our family members, sitting alongside someone who is running a state office at the Department of Education, sitting alongside a superintendent of a school system, sitting alongside someone who is running an organization in their community, an urban league or a PTA. That is what it really takes to do this work right, to raise our kids well in Ohio together, to educate them well, to care for them well, is for us to come together and to value all of those perspectives equally, to bring power to the voice of individual parents alongside research, alongside policy, alongside our community organizations that are looking at full communities. We need that, and I feel like you have made that happen here. And so we have a debt of gratitude to our family representatives, and just want to thank you.
Thanks, Barb. I'd like to say that speaks for our whole team, really. And I know I've probably been the closest to you all just in communications, and I'm so grateful to all of you. So thank you for making my job easy, and thank you. All right. Okay. Last chance. Anybody want to share a story? We all love stories.
Well, I would just like to say thank you. As a parent, I don't have any titles. I've had titles, but titles don't really even matter. But to be valued, to think that what I can bring to the table, just as a parent, because sometimes I haven't always felt like what I have to bring is valuable or valuable to someone. Again, I'm here because someone looked at my advocacy for my child. It was just personal. I can't help a whole without helping my own. But what I had hoped was that what I do with my son would then impact the system of school. I just didn't know it was going to be at this level. So again, I'm appreciative to be here. I look forward to serving again next year and hoping that I can have more of an impact in my district as a parent. I do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, my first job is being a parent.
Well said, Sharon. And I thought of you during that middle school presentation today. Middle school / high school career transition exploration. I totally thought of you.
And I will echo what Sharon said too about feeling valuable. My daughter Mia was one of the student council members, and she was really nervous about it. You know, you're talking to someone at Ohio State and you've never met them before, and it was all virtual at the point she joined in. And she said that Tom made her feel incredibly comfortable and that all the discussions were really good. And she says, Mom, I actually am going to miss doing this because I feel like my voice matters now. So whatever you guys did in your breakout sessions definitely gave her a lot of confidence in talking to adults isn't as scary as she thought it was going to be.
Well, we're glad we were able to give her that experience. We are very sad that, we're not continuing it at this time. It's on a pause. But we really did think that it was important for the kids to focus on school right now, just with the environment and everything going on, that seemed to be the priority. So we're going to think of different ways that we can incorporate the student voice. So we know where Mia is, and I guarantee you Tom's going to reach out to her if we need some feedback. So tell her we're not going to forget about her. And I will say that I have a little special treat that I'm getting prepped for all of our outgoing members, including our students. So look for that in the next month or so in your mail. That's just a token of appreciation from us, just a little gift, and let you know how important you were to us and our work and continue to be. All right, anyone else?
Christian, I'm biased. I'm very biased. So, and you know that. So, I just think this is such a spectacular resource that virtually every teacher that actually cares in every school should be a member of this activity. And to take it a step further, every parent that accepts their role as the parent of influence, of guidance, of caring, should also be a part of this magnificent resource that exists in the state of Ohio. So there should be an overwhelming number of people involved in everything that we do. And I'm proud to be a member of this. And I'm excited the support that you guys give me, both personally and through my nonprofit. So you're right there at the top of the list. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg, and thanks for continuing to spread our work to your community. I know you're doing it on a daily basis. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to hand it over to Hadley. I appreciate everyone's share, and I really hope that you'll go away from this meeting realizing that, like Sharon said, it doesn't matter what your title is, what your occupation is, your voice matters, and you can make a change. So thanks. All right, Hadley, you're up next.
Okay, everyone. So we are hopping back on to Mentimeter. So again, you can scan the code that you see on the screen, and if there are things to populate on this slide, if Barbara, if you can add those. So what are your next steps going to be? Please take a moment again and pull up your phone and share with us 2 to 3 things you would like to try and do between now and the next meeting, or if you aren't joining us next year, what you will continue to do. Let's take 5 minutes or so, and you can elaborate on a plan that you have, and we will be sharing a screen with the Mentimeter in just a moment. You can use the camera on your phone. I will also put a direct link into the chat, or Meredith already has. If you use that direct link, you won't actually even need the voting code. And I'm going to share my screen. So we can see others' ideas as they come in. So we have a commitment to be more involved with your local community, find out about local resources available to share with other members. We appreciate that. Support the networks, increase mental health work with families and teachers, recruit specialists in our family adult mental health to our network. Continue to collaborate with people that I've met to make parent engagement stronger in Ohio. More family to family videos, yes, and try out Middle Years to Careers. We appreciate that. We use those family to family videos as examples in professional learning. We share those with educators to share with families. Those are so valuable. Spread the word about the great work of the council, specifically Middle Years to Careers. Thank you. Map educator needs to available resources. Sounds very helpful. Review the website so I can share resources with other family members. We do encourage you to access our website as much as possible. I find it, I work here, but I'm there multiple times a day, every day. And if you know of a resource that you think we should have, today Tracy from Cleveland shared a resource, and we didn't have it on our website, so I'm adding it. And so if you know of great resources you'd like to make sure that are on our website, you can email them to us. Share family videos and dig into the middle school years to careers info and share with everyone you know. Yes. Get families to sign up for the website. Be focused on making connections. Yes, thank you. Love to help with the Facebook group and with recruiting new members. Thank you. Yes, we are taking new applications, and we really welcome families that you know, particularly families who are not, who have their kids in public schools and who are not professional educators themselves. We're really looking for that parent and caregiver hat. Recruit parents for the council, get more of our families and educators to use resources. Continuing on the council, thank you. Talking more with administration of county schools about parent mentoring program and talking to school about the mental health resources. Reach out to more families, asking them to apply. Thank you. And number 2, promote and recruit family to family videos. Thank you. Recruit the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of parents and students and educators. Recruit the media as a resource to support the work of this magnificent resource to all. Thank you. And sharing council info with anyone that will listen, exploring Middle Years to Careers with your daughter. That would be really special. I have loved seeing your thoughts on Mentimeter today. Thank you for joining in on that. If there's others of you with ideas, please continue to post your ideas. Share information with this forum. I'd like to start PIDCAT with OSU ODE podcast for Middle Years to Career and Parent Empowerment of Advocacy. Thank you. Okay, thanks so much for all of you participating in this. I think I'm turning sharing back over to Barbara, but if you have more ideas, feel free to keep adding them, and then we will be sure to review all of your suggestions that you've given us today. Thanks so much.
I am overwhelmed with all of the great input and feedback that we have gotten from all of you today. And it's so exciting. I mean, as you know, in all of these things, there's a side chat going on, and our team is blowing up over here. Our chat of all the things that we're hearing and we're excited about and what we can do. So please know that you not only give us great ideas, you inspire us. And so they're so energetic. And I personally thank you as the leader of this team, because we have a planning meeting after this afternoon, and you have just set it on fire already. So I'm excited to take what you all have put in front of us today and sit down with our team here and say, all right, let's roll up our sleeves and figure out how we take next steps and get to action on all of these things here. So please mark your calendars for these upcoming meetings. Kristen has us all organized and ready to go into this next year, and it'll be exciting in January to be welcoming new faces. So make note of these. Of course, we will. These are on your webpage as well, so you can find them there. But we coming back together in late January, in April, September, and November, and we're really excited with the potential that we might be getting together face to face at some time But just if I can describe to you right now, you know that room in our building where we would often gather and you'd be able to walk around the building and we have a kitchen. Well, the kitchen is shut down. We're not really allowed in there to really interact with that much. And that room where we used to meet we're allowed to meet there if we are all seated at a table where we don't move away from with plexiglass between us. It's not quite the atmosphere we like to have with all of you. We feel like even virtually we are able to just be together and be a little warmer and interact a little bit more than we could if we were all sort of stationed at a table where we had to sit by ourselves and kind of see one another through the plexiglass. So we're hopeful that we will soon be able to get together the way we like to, and maybe have Brutus show up again and bring some music from the university and just really enjoy being together. And we really appreciate that you all stick with us through this virtual format that we know isn't always the most fun thing to do. So thank you for that. Here are the dates where we're moving forward. Please continue to sort of talk to us in the chat if you have got questions. On this next slide, though, we're going to be sharing with you our survey, and we'll put that link in the chat for you all. I shared with you survey results from you last time. We really listened to you. This survey really matters to us. So I hope that you'll take the time before you exit today and go on with your day to take a moment and give us your feedback. We always love to get your feedback in any form. This survey is one that's really important to us. So please use this survey. The survey link is in the chat there, and we hope that you will use that, provide us that feedback. So from our team to you today, thank you. Kristen, did you want to have a final wrap up with us here?
All right, I was just posting the survey link again, making sure everybody has it, and just take a moment before you leave today. As usual, if you have finished your survey and you want to move on with your day, thank you again. We will see you in 2022. And for those not returning, we're still going to see you in 2022. Don't worry about it. And then we'll stay on here. If anybody wants to chat with us or have any questions, we certainly will be on here until noon if you like. So thank you again. Have a great weekend and happy Thanksgiving early. Go get your turkeys. I got mine yesterday. Giant Eagle had I don't need a huge one. I only needed like a 10 pounder for my 6 people. So I managed to score a butterball yesterday. 10.36 ounces or pounds. I was super excited about it. So anyway, I hope y'all enjoy your holidays and be safe and contact us anytime. We're here.